You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Rod Mahood, your in-game voice of the Niagara IceDogs, and you're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your podcast source for all game analysis, team interviews, and up-to-date news regarding the Niagara IceDogs.
Perlini! Overtime! IceDogs win! They score! Verhage was also jamming away. It's a power play goal for the IceDogs. And they score! Hosang, first goal as an IceDog. Strom stops Shipley. Richie scores! Gets it to Akil Thomas. Thomas has the angle coming in. He scores!
Welcome into another Niagara IceDogs game recap right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family, and there are three great Niagara region locations in Fonthill, Niagara Falls, and Scott Street in St. Catharines. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in live on our Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel, and those listening on your favorite on-demand audio platform when this does come out either Sunday night or Monday morning on your commute. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you guys for our final post-game show of the 2025 calendar season, obviously continuing on into 2026, but this closes out our final Dog Pound Podcast game recap here of 2025. Brandon Caputo and Christian Simmons are with you to break down the IceDogs 4-3 victory on home ice against the Brampton Steelheads in front of 3,254 here on this Sunday afternoon at the Meridian Centre. Make sure to give us a follow on X at Dog Pound Podcast, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. Programming alert, we will have our big end-of-month recap show. We'll do our ticket giveaway. We'll do a giveaway for our Global Pet Foods gift certificates as well. We'll have Christian's prospect segment update. We're going to hear from GM Frank Evola as well. That'll be available on our YouTube channel as its own segment, but we'll react to that as we were able to speak to him after today's obviously big move that we'll get into. And then we're also going to hear on today's show from head coach Krys Barch and newly named captain Ethan Czata. So, Christian, with all that out of the way here, I want to mention before we get any further, I want to thank you for doing a great job taking over the podcast for a couple weeks while I was away covering the Hockey Canada's World Junior Camp. You did a great job with Noah and Alex on as guests. And before we get going, just want to say thank you for all you do for this podcast and helping me out with it.
No, thanks for handing me the reins for a couple weeks. It was a ton of fun. I guess I can extend thanks to Noah and Alex for coming out to help me out, and to all of you, our listeners, our fan base, for being totally okay with dealing with me for a couple weeks. That is no easy feat, all right? This guy, Brandon, I'm happy you're back. I'm sure he's not exactly pleased. He's going to listen to me again for the rest of the season. But it's nice to have you back too, Brandon. I'm excited. And the IceDogs, apparently happy to have you right back in their building as well. They find victory here this afternoon. A great start to the second half of the season following that Christmas break. But nice to have you back too, Brandon. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here doing this with you. How long has it been? It's been a while since we've done a post-game show.
Yeah, I think about a month and a half since we both recorded a post-game show together. So
it's been a while.
It's refreshing, and for me, first day back here at the Meridian Centre, fireworks right off the bat, and we might as well start off with that. We'll get into the game stats, the scoring summary, and everything like that, but I'm sure all the IceDog fans out there in the Dog Pound Podcast want to get our initial reaction. We're going to talk more about this in depth on our monthly recap show after we hear from GM Frank Evola, but obviously the big news of the day, leading up to the game, we still didn't know the official announcement, but it came out. Kevin He was scratched from the lineup today, along with Ben Riesenecker, who's still day-to-day. But regardless of that, Kevin He moved to the Flint Firebirds in a massive OHL trade, sending back multiple draft picks for the IceDogs, 2 seconds, 3/3, 4th, and a couple other picks. And going back the other way are Kevin He, depth defenseman Darcy DeWatcher, and a couple draft picks. Again, really tough trade because how impactful Kevin he was to this organization on and off the ice. A great person in the community, a great human being, the first ever Chinese-born player to sign an NHL entry-level contract. So Kevin, he's going to be remembered, his legacy here in Niagara for so long. But for the long-term outlook of the organization, it was the right move, and with the return that they got, you can't really say no, even though it was a tough day for a fan favorite like Kevin He out the door. Yeah, for sure. Not exactly what IceDogs fans were expecting when they came into the Meridian Centre this afternoon with their Kevin He jerseys on, ready to cheer on the captain and, one of their leaders they've seen for the last couple of seasons. And then to have him scratched and then shortly thereafter traded to Flint, it's obviously a sad day. A massive hole in the lineup, but I think the IceDogs did a great job this afternoon filling that hole. But absolutely a huge blockbuster trade, and we'll really excited to hear from Frank Evola in that month-ending show that we're going to hold and kind of get his thoughts on that move. Just massive, massive blockbuster trade. 6 or 7 draft picks coming back the other way. Not sure exactly what the number was there. And then, of course, a great young prospect in Chase Hall coming back the other way as well. Going to bring some size and some speed up front, maybe some depth scoring as well. So an interesting trade, but definitely not the return I expected from the Christmas break. But all things considered with that trade, maybe a good time to jump into the lineup, seeing as one of the biggest holes in the lineup here this afternoon was Kevin He. He was not a part of the dressed cast for the IceDogs this afternoon. So was Ben Reisnecker. Like you said, Brandon, still day-to-day. Taking a look at the lines here, we'll kind of run through them quickly. A really interesting top line. Wraith Smith, Ivan Gallianov, and Hayden Reed actually started the game tonight. Had a fantastic first shift. We'll walk through that a little later. Robrick, Patterson, and Doherty, that second line that eventually saw some changes as well. Noah Reed, Ethan Czata, and Monks on that third line. Just an interesting kind of crafty, toolbox, looking group there. And then the bottom unit to start was Judd Noft, Ryerson Edgar at center for, I think, the first time this season. I don't know if we've ever seen him at center alongside Alexander Hage. On the defensive side of things, Liam Spencer, Blake Barnes will draw into the lineup, of course, with the absence of Ben Reisnecker, Grayson Tiller, Aaron Frolov, that second pairing. And then the hero of the game, Callum Shanowski and Sebastian Del Elche, the bottom pairing with Vladislav Yermolenko getting the start here this afternoon. A lot to get through, Brandon. Where do you want to start? I mean, that was a fantastic hockey game. I think, we could start anywhere. We could start with the first shift. We could start with Callum Shanowski. We could start with Ryan Robrick. We could start with Yermolenko. There was so many positives here this afternoon. I'm excited. I feel like the fan base was excited. A popping crowd today. Over 3,000 people in this building this afternoon. Just a raucous event this afternoon. And, a great day, to watch some major junior hockey. I thought the IceDogs lived up to it. They put together a real strong performance in my eyes, and I think, it started right at the beginning of this game. I think that's where we should start. First shift, puck in deep, IceDogs chasing it down. Hayden Reed gets leveled. Who's there to stand up? Ivan Gallianov drops the mitts, and that's how this one started. Teed up the rest of this game, and I think that's a great place to start. Yeah, I mean, the IceDogs set the tone right away, and a big hit, and these teams have played each other 5 times already this season. They're going to play
6
again. This was the 6th, but they had played 5 times before coming into this game. Then they're going to play another one tomorrow. Right. So 7 games already between these two teams after tomorrow's game, which is incredible to think about. We haven't even reached the new year yet. Right. So the Steelheads and the IceDogs have had a lot of bad blood since the beginning of the season. They know each other well. They know each other really well. So when you add that all into the equation as well with the high emotions of a Central Division rivalry, and these teams only separated by 2 points in the standings coming in, yes, the IceDogs had 2 games in hand, but again, if the Steelheads would have came away with the 2 points here, they're tied with the IceDogs, and who knows what happens for that sort of 6th, 7th spot that they're sort of sitting in right now. You want to avoid the Brantford Bulldogs in the first round at all costs. So you definitely don't want to be in that 8th spot, but sure. We have plenty more to talk about with that. But we'll get things going here with our game stats tonight, brought to you by J&L Flooring. If you think you get a better deal anywhere else, you don't know jack Check them out at jnoflooring.com or visit their Niagara Falls location to begin your quality flooring project today. Shots on net, Brampton led in this category 29-24. It was a narrow lead every single period in Brampton's favor, but what did you see from the shots on net tonight from both teams? And again, might not tell the full story.
Shots will never tell the full story, but I do think tonight we can maybe go the other way. Obviously, the IceDogs get outshot in this game by a margin of 5. Not crazy. It's not like they got completely outshot, which we have seen. This year there's been some, really questionable, offensive performances this season. But I think the shots, for me, not exactly a factor. I thought the IceDogs played great. That had a lot of offensive jump. Maybe not getting the puck to the net as much as you want them to. And give some credit to the Brampton Steelheads defenders. They had some blocks as well. Did a great job of clogging lanes. But the shots, for me, not a massive factor. I think the IceDogs were dangerous. They had opportunities. Maybe could have hit the net a little bit more. When you look at some of the opportunities that they had today, on the power play and then even in on the rush, there's a couple of shots that maybe you want back, some real grade A looks at Zach Bowen, who I thought played fantastic this afternoon as well. But I don't know that the shots, for me are ever really a catalyst. Sometimes they are. This afternoon, I don't think they were at all. I think the IceDogs played fantastic. They got outshot, so be it. Yermolenko played great. And, you can shoot the puck from center ice, like we've talked about many times on this show. So I don't know that the shots were a factor for me. I don't know, Brandon, would you say, you have a differing opinion there?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
It was a game where shots were secondary, and you see that a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was a high shot total, 29-24. Not exactly, the highest as far as what you might see in a game with the most, I guess, I don't even know what you want to call them.
Well, less power plays, too.
Chances, yeah.
I mean, that's another one. When the IceDogs get 5 chances on the power play, Ryan Broberg is going to have probably 10 shots on goal himself.
Yeah.
Today, a little bit different. 2 power plays. Also, it was a scrappy game here this afternoon. It was physical, tight checking. Not a lot of open ice, for either teams. There weren't a whole lot of fluid motion from anybody. Anybody, and I don't mean that as a dig. It was more so just, both teams were playing a tight checking approach, and that's what's going to lead, to a low shot total. So, again, not a huge one for me. I think we can move on to our next stat there. IceDogs get outshot, but they win the game. They win the game. So, realistically, how important was it?
Yeah, IceDogs 0 for 2 on the power play, and with no Kevin He, you had Noah Reed as the fit. They were still running 5 forwards, but Noah Reed was the guy at the point where Kevin He would usually be. The IceDogs go 3 for 3 on the penalty kill, which coming into this game they were sitting 11th. They might move up to 10th by the end of this when this gets updated. But, again, we're not going to talk about the power play a whole lot other than, it's still a work in progress. But Noah Reed on that unit at the point with, missing out on Kevin He now. So we'll see sort of how they go about that. But still working on that cohesion for that 5-man unit. And we even saw the second unit, I believe, had a good opportunity as well. The second unit has 2 defensemen on it. But anything you want to mention from the power play? Because the face-off wins, IceDogs won that 35-23. At one point, I think I turned to you and said the face-offs were like 10-2 in the IceDogs' favor early in the first period.
Right, and it's interesting that you bring up the face-offs. I'll leave the power play alone. We can kind of gloss past that. Well documented. This team has had their struggles. I thought the power play looked fine today. Nothing that I could say was bad about it. Not overly great either. I don't think there was, a 10-bell save from Zach Bowen that, somebody could have scored on the power play. I think it was okay. They had possession in the zone, a little bit more than they typically would. So we'll say that the power play was just A-okay today. As far as the face-offs, this was something that I noticed throughout the game. I think you did as well. There were, it was a battle, at the dot, for the Niagara IceDogs today. Riley Patterson in particular was very vocal with some of the linesmen and the decisions to drop the puck. So, and when they were dropping it and, waiting for Patterson to get his stick down. Ethan Czata, of course, always engaged in the face-off dot. Ivan Galyanov had a couple of great tie-ups today. So the face-off dot was won by the IceDogs, and it's not hard to see why. Their guys that win draws were active. They were there, and they were ready, to to start the play from that drop of the puck. And, I thought that, the centerman did a really, really great job. And, led by Riley Patterson. I'm not sure exactly what his numbers were today in the dot, but he seemed engaged. He was fighting, for that puck when it hit the dot.
New captain Ethan Czata was 19 of 29. Riley Patterson was 12 of 21. They took most of the faceoffs in this game. The only other person that took that took at least 3 was Ivan Galliana, but it was Patterson and Czata taking 95% of the draws tonight. Yeah,
so there you go. And maybe the Patterson frustration comes from the fact that he lost, about half? He was
12 and then 9.
So it was over 50%.
Over
50%. And, of course, Czata was fantastic today as well. But I wanted to pick up on that as well, just something I noticed, in the game. And, that's what you want, from these guys. They're 5-star athletes. They don't just score. They don't just back check hard. They don't work hard in the corners. These guys are also very gifted in the faceoff dot, and you got to give them their flowers. When they do win, what's that? 13 more faceoffs than a team. That makes such a huge difference. And maybe it didn't, on the shot side of things,
gaining possession.
Exactly. Gaining possession. They had the puck more. And, when we talk about that first period in particular, I think the faceoffs were everything. Niagara really carried the pace of play. And, the faceoffs, obviously, like you just mentioned, a huge part of that.
And the lineup has completely changed from even a month and a half ago because there's no Kevin He, there's no Brady Wasslin. So
it's crazy.
You're finding that top line of Roberk and Patterson, who sort of seem to be attached right now. And they've been rotating that third forward. And we saw Hayden Reed get a couple shifts. We saw Alexander Hage get a couple of shifts. We saw them rotating those forwards. But
even Edgar was up there at a couple points today as well.
Edgar had moved as well to try to find that third spot with Patterson and Roberk, who continue to be the catalyst of this team. So it's interesting to see how that will go going forward. And now the more opportunity that GM Frank Evil talked about, more opportunity for these guys to grow into bigger roles. You don't have a Cole Cooksey in the lineup as well anymore. So there's these opportunities for the Edgars, the Monkses, the Hages, the Dohertys. These guys are going to be the ones that are going to have to fill these roles. Yes, there's another overage spot that we don't know could change in the next week and a half. Maybe he goes out and makes a trade. Who knows? But right now we're looking at what the lineup is right now, and as of now, maybe Chase Hull, as you mentioned, could be a guy to fill a role as well.
He's been scoring a lot for Flint. I think he's got 8 goals or something on the season. I think I heard somebody say earlier today. So, there's a guy that's going to add some depth scoring, and quickly, before I forget, talking about the lineup here, now that Kevin He's gone, and again, we're going to get more into this, in the monthly recap show, but a huge hole in the top 6. So who's going to fill it? And I thought Alexander Hage had a decent game tonight, did go down in that second period.
Came back in the third.
Was kind of fighting through whatever he was dealing with. I think it looked kind of like a lower body thing. I saw him come out at the beginning of that third period a little gingerly, favoring his left side. So hoping whatever he's dealing with is a quick recovery. But I will say I liked the way that he showed himself here this afternoon. He's going to have to take a bigger role. 1,000%. He's going to be in the lineup a lot more than he maybe has been. I'm even looking at, Sean Doherty. I'm looking at Wraith Smith. I'm looking at Hayden Reed, Noah Reed, Judd Noft, drew into the lineup today. These guys are going to have to start scoring because you just lost a guy that gave you 30 goals with consistency for the last 2 seasons. Those goals are going to have to come from somewhere. The goal differential between Chase Hull and Kevin He is massive. Not to say that Chase Hull isn't a good player, but they're going to have to find scoring from some of their depth guys who I thought looked good tonight. Wraith Smith had a couple of chances. Sean Doherty looked pretty good. Alexander Hage looked pretty good. So with that, when you mentioned that the lineup looked different, I thought it looked different, but it also looked good. Some of those differentiations started to show, some dividends today. I thought the line combinations, really showed out as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we moved on from the lineup conversation, that some of those guys that are going to be asked to fill bigger roles here down the stretch had a great performance here this afternoon.
Yeah, I think Noah Reed's got to be number 1 on that list, especially for being a third-round pick of the Anaheim Ducks. They have a lot of high hopes for this guy, so I think Noah Reed is a guy that I think could step into that role.
New power play guy, too.
Yep.
Right? And I think, it's funny, we saw Krys Barch a little bit. I don't know if you caught this. Noah Reed's first appearance on the power play, Krys was kind of yelling at him a little bit to kind of find that positioning. So we can expect a little bit of that. It's going to take some time for Noah to find his footing on that power play. But I agree with you. he needs to be that guy. He has to be that guy. He's got the scoring. He's got the physical side. He plays with an edge. He can take faceoffs if he has to. He brings that championship pedigree. And I'm going to look to him, to continue to, kind of do exactly what you said there. Anaheim likes him. We like him. Obviously Krys Barch likes him. He's probably going to be, that power play guy. So, maybe looking at him for some of that scoring.
We saw a couple rushes from Jacob Monks, which was nice to see as well. And one of our loyal listeners, Trevor, pointed that out in the chat for you guys watching on the YouTube side. Definitely, the hustle we saw from Monks maybe just gives those guys a little bit more juice to say, hey, maybe it's going to be my opportunity. So you love to see that from those depth guys, as you mentioned eloquently, of all those guys that are looking for a bigger role as they continue to now clean the ice here at the Meridian Centre. Bringing it to you live with that.
Live, guys. You can hear it in the background. As a matter of fact, we got cleaning ladies and stuff, too, like in our box. Like they come in here and like clean up.
They do a great job.
Great job. Not trying, no digs, but
no.
Seriously, we got a live show.
We're in the elements. We're in the jungle.
Yeah.
But that's why we bring it to you live for the postgame
Caputo
shows.
and Christian Simmons in the depths of the Meridian Centre following the game.
So we'll move on to our scoring summary tonight, brought to you by the Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work in Niagara since 1983. Check out their up-to-date job board at ehc.on.ca to find your next work opportunity today. Christian, let's get through this in 9 minutes. Ryan Roberts, you got 9 minutes to talk, okay?
I can do it. You want to go first?
Well, I'm just going to go through the goals for you, and then you can figure it out from there.
Sounds good.
So, as you mentioned, Ryan Roberts got them on the board. A really nice touch pass by Callum Shanowski in the neutral zone to spring Roberts. He goes in 5-hole on Zach Bowen. 3 minutes, 49 seconds in. IceDogs needed a great start. I talked to you about that while we were up here in the game. Like, how many times did we see them come out and they're behind the 8 ball after the first period? Tonight, they came out with authority in that first period, got the first goal, and we're up 1-0 after 20.
Exactly. They scored right away, and I'll go back to what I said earlier with that Gallianov hit. Well, not the hit, the response from the hit, drops the gloves. That's what you want. He gets the team going. 3,000 people in here rocking, cheering. Of course, the IceDogs will score 3.5 minutes later. A smart play by Roberts there. And we'll give Callum Shanowski credit for the pass, but Roberts identifies what's happening. Shanowski comes back through the neutral zone with that puck. Roberts has an option to button hook in front, right in front of Shanowski, creating that option for just a short little tap pass. Or he could go the other way, allow Shanowski to come down the wing, maybe look for a 2-on-1 opportunity. He does the opposite of what I would have done. Button hooks up the near wall, opens up for that tap pass, and then he comes in, true Ryan Roberts fashion, opens up the wicket to Zach Bowen and slides it right through for his 19th of the season. I thought he looked great at the start of this game. I think Roberts went away maybe a little bit at the end, but the way he started here this afternoon was incredibly encouraging. I think Ryan Roberts had some, calorie injection in his Christmas dinner or whatever, because he was ready here this afternoon. Got rewarded with a goal. Callum Shanowski, of course, the assist. IceDogs take that 1-0 lead early.
Yeah, Ryan Roberts had another chance later in that period, stopped on the breakaway. So as you mentioned, he was buzzing for that first 20 minutes of this game. He could have had 2 or 3 goals, so that shows his game-breaking ability. But the IceDogs led 1-0 after 20 minutes. In the second period, Zabeski was able to kind of get a shot off a rebound there, put it in to even the game up. That was right after Ray Smith had stolen the puck in the neutral zone, went in on a breakaway. He beat Zach Bowen backhand, but just hit the side of the net, which would have given the IceDogs a 2-0 lead. As you mentioned, Ray Smith was really engaged as well as another bottom 6 guy that continues to showcase his underrated speed. But then that doesn't go in the other way. Zabeski, the captain of the Steelheads, evens it up.
Yeah, Zabeski looked really, really good today. And, that goal, obviously a testament to that. He had another point later in I believe, their empty net goal. Gabriel Sherratt scored once, and that goal was assisted by Zabeski as well. Just such a dynamic player for Brampton. He plays great. The combination of him and Sherratt, they played fantastic today. So, you got to give them credit, too. Those guys are good players over there, too. Sometimes they're going to score goals. Zabeski makes a great play, ties it up. And then, of course, the IceDogs come roaring back just 9 minutes later.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Noah Reed forces the turnover on the wall, cuts down, and finds Ethan Czata in the slot, who was just sort of had two guys draped on his back, went to the backhand, and as you'll hear from Ethan Czata later, he scores a lot of his goals around that dirty area, around the paint.
Just a great goal.
Not afraid to go to the net, not afraid to get hit, not afraid of that contact. He loves that sort of thing. And the new captain, number 12, the Tampa Bay Lightning signee, gives the IceDogs a 2-1 lead, and he was fired up with the fans at the glass, and you'd love to see that in his first game we're in the C.
Yeah, that's a goal right there. That's a pretty goal, and don't get me wrong, I love it when you rip something top left and you beat a goalie blocker side, and maybe you hear the ping of the crossbar, and the fans go crazy. That there is prettier. The effort was there, the finish was there, the reaction after was there, the passion was there. That's a goal that you want to see from your captain. He cuts in, makes a fantastic read, there off the rush, and gets fed. Noah Reid also with a great read, Reid from a Reid. That's bit of a pun of getting carried away here. I'm going to start stuttering, but no, Czata makes a great play there. Got two guys on his back, and under pressure, in tight, has to make a little move to the backhand, able to do it flawlessly, and finishes his 15th of the season. Just continues to score. He's been, one of their better goal scorers this season. Didn't really see that, kind of coming in. And this is the second year in a row where Ethan Czata has made a fantastic offensive leap. Last year scored 21 goals. That was a huge jump from his rookie year.
Yep.
Looks like he's doing it again this year. Already has 15, just 6 shy of his total last year in exactly half the games. He continues to impress, and of course, does so with the captaincy on his sweater as well. We'll hear from him later. But just a great goal, a great read from Noah Reid, and a great finish from Ethan Czata.
Yeah, great play by Noah Reid that started the whole thing, and we'll see if Ethan Czata is wearing number 81 back in Brampton tomorrow night.
Yeah, I made a joke about it today, so we'll see. We'll see.
And then we got to the feel-good story of the game. The IceDogs led 2-1 after 2. Early in the third period, 2:25 mark, Ivan Gallianov, as you mentioned, makes a really nice play to get Callum Shanowski this puck. And he makes no mistake going far side, post in for his first goal since February of 2024. The Rose City, Welland native, a lot of friends and family in the building, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Really great moment for Callum Shanowski. You saw him do the monkey off the back celebration. Adds his second point of the night, and just a great moment in it. And at the time, a really big goal for the IceDogs to go up 3-1.
Huge goal, massive goal, and that's something that really turns the tide. You got to find a way to break through, and he makes a nice read. Gallianov with a great pass, snaps one across, and Shanowski walks in. That was a perfect shot, glove side, just over the left pad, off the post and in, a ping. And Callum Shanowski with his first of the season. And yeah, you could feel the emotion in this crowd. You could feel the emotion all the way from up here. I could see it on the bench, on the faces of his teammates. That's a goal that inspires a hockey team, and I think the IceDogs really rode that high, that rest of that third period. They came right back, 12-ish minutes later and scored again. But just huge goal. Huge goal for Callum Shanowski. Nice to see him get rewarded. The beating this guy takes in front of the net. He is the kind of guy that will not get that kind of credit, very often. We don't talk about him a lot on this show because typically we're doing what we're doing now. We're talking about the goal scorers. We identify statistics. We identify trends. Well, here's a trend that we have really shied away from. That guy is a wall in front of Vladislav Yermolenko. Today alone probably blocked 3 or 4 shots. He does it on a nightly basis. Really nice to see him get rewarded with his first of the year.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Vladislav Yermolenko continues to be sort of the Iron Man going forward. I think this was his 7th straight start in the net for Niagara.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And yeah, just picks up another victory for them. But Hayden Reed gets the goal to go up 14-22 into the third period. Really nice for Hayden Reed to be able to get rewarded as well. Sort of same backhand move on the breakaway to give the IceDogs a 4-1 lead. But Christian, we moved just a little bit later because obviously the end of this game wasn't great for the IceDogs. They have a 4-1 lead, and you want them to be able to close it out. We saw what happened against Sarnia last weekend, going into the break where Sarnia scored with 6 seconds left to tie the game to send it to overtime. The Steelheads are a hard-working team, They score 2 goals late in that third period to cut it to 1. The IceDogs hold on, but again, that last 5 minutes for Brampton, they were hemming the IceDogs in pretty good.
Yeah, and you know what? These goals are they're going to happen. You will hear Krys Barch talk about it. You know, when a team's pushing hard, if you're down 3 goals, you're going to throw everything with the kitchen sink at these guys. You know, that Keaton Arda goal, I believe Hayden Reed broke a stick on the play. It turns it into like a 6-on-4 effectively because Hayden Reed was completely out of the play. He didn't have a stick. It opens up a passing lane. Keaton Arda scores. And then Gabriel Sherratt, again, another empty net opportunity where Brampton's just throwing everything they got, you know, at Vladislav Yermolenko. And sometimes those goals are going to go in. But all around, a great game from the IceDogs. Top to bottom, they played well. Goaltending wasn't an issue either. I thought Yermolenko had some great stops. Especially late. Really hung in there. He battles, man. He just battles. He just stops the puck. That is his catchphrase. He did it here tonight.
Absolutely. So the IceDogs come away with a 4-3 victory. Callum Shanowski named the first star with a goal and assist. Ethan Czata, first game as the new captain, second star with a goal. And Ryan Robrick, third star with the first goal for the IceDogs. 4-3 is the final score in favor of the IceDogs over the Brampton Steelheads, home and home, coming up tomorrow with them up in Brampton. So this IceDogs stretch, Christian, very important. We talked about it coming into the game before we hit the break. You know, you got the game against Sarnia, then you got 2 against Brampton and 1 against Oshawa on New Year's Eve. Those are 4 games that you circle on the calendar and say you need to come away with at least 6 of 8 points here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, before that Sarnia game, you saw Peterborough, you saw Flint. Those were 2 also really important games. You wanted to find victory. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. December the 20th, able to beat Sarnia in overtime. Now you're in a position where, you know, you had 3 games where you really, really needed to win. You come back, and now you get kind of a little bit of a break. You see Brampton twice. Now you're going to see Oshawa on Wednesday on that New Year's Eve game, which should be a ton of fun. You know, to all the people listening, you know, come on down, celebrate with us, buy a ticket. We'll see you at the Meridian Centre December 31st. But then you got Windsor. Then you got Barrie. Then you see Brantford. That's an incredibly difficult stretch of hockey there. So really important that they got the victory here tonight. Really important that they follow it up tomorrow. Make it 4 points on the weekend. Put yourself in a good spot to take a win against Oshawa. And then all of a sudden you're taking on some of the best in the OHL with a 6-point cushion at your back off 3 victories. That's how you want to approach those 3 games. So for me, it's find victory here when you really should and put yourself in a good spot with some momentum to take on some of the elite in the Ontario Hockey League.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a 3-game gauntlet with Windsor, Barrie, and Brantford, so you want to be able to take care of business here. So we're going to have more reaction post-game here after our commercial break. Stay with us. You're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs, proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family. We'll be right back after this.
Whether you just brought home a new furry member of the family or would like help finding something new for your picky eater, maybe you've done your research and want to upgrade your pet's nutrition from an entry-level food, the staff at any of the Global Pet Food stores in the Niagara region would love to help you out. Let them show you why our lesser-known premium brands are so much better than highly advertised big corporate brands. The value from the brands we carry is not only visible in the health and vitality in your pet, but also because you won't need to feed as much as with the other brands. Better nutrition from a longer-lasting bag. We hope to see you at one of the following locations across Niagara: 3643 Portage Road in Niagara Falls, 160 Highway 20 in Font Hill, as well as 400 Scott Street, St. Catharines. Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family.
Since 1999, Niagara Dental Clinic has been helping thousands of patients achieve natural-looking smiles with the confidence to show them off. Sean Patel and his wife Anne, both licensed denturists, bring a wealth of skill and experience to the warm and friendly atmosphere to their Niagara Falls location at 5501 Drummond Road. And their on-site Niagara Hearing Clinic offers free hearing tests and a variety of services to fit your needs. This family-run practice takes pride in providing superior care and service to their patients, along with the best premium products available on the market. Get the best work done at a more reasonable price. Niagara Dental Clinic is here to help. Protect your teeth with a mouth guard, replace missing teeth, and get better hold with your dental implants. Call them today for a free consultation at 905-353-1552 or check them out online at niagaradentalclinic.com. Niagara Dental Clinic, creating natural smiles in the Niagara region for 25 years.
Are you currently looking for work in the Niagara region? If so, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thorold Stone Road in Niagara Falls. Their many free services include a fully staffed resource area open to the public, resume and cover letter writing, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment, training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, and Better Jobs Ontario information and registration assistance. Check out their website at ehc.on.ca or call 905-358-0021 for more information. The Niagara Employment Help Center, helping people find work since 1983.
This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario. Wild Bill's Auto Repair is your local center for auto maintenance and repair in the Niagara region. Since 2012, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop has been helping customers stay safe and confident on the road, knowing their vehicles in top running condition through their services. Located at 7868 Oakwood Drive in Niagara Falls, the garage started as a tribute to the owner's father, William Robert Hunter, who passed away, continuing the same community spirit and high level of service which customers came to expect from him back at Hunter's Auto Repair. Their multi-award-winning auto shop has earned the trust of the Niagara community with its fair treatment of all customers, who can feel confident they'll get the trustworthy advice and repairs during their visit. Their experienced crew loves meeting new people and looks forward to forming a lasting partnership for the care of your cars. To find out more or to book a service, contact them today. 905-358-7868 or wildbillsauto.ca. Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012.
Hey, it's Ryan Roberg.
This is Ethan Czata.
This is Ivan Galyanov.
This is Kevin He.
And this is the
Dog Pound Podcast.
The official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs.
Yes, we rock out to our bumper theme here
Best
for the Dog
song,
Pound
man.
podcast.
I still don't know what song that is.
You'll have to
I
find
actually
out.
don't know what song that is. I need to figure it out.
It's the Dog Pound song.
Every time before we go live, Brandon and I, with our mics muted, do air guitars here in the press box. Unreal song.
It's a great,
Unreal song.
great bumper song.
Love it.
Welcome back to the Dog Pound podcast and our game recap of the IceDogs 4-3 victory over the Brampton Steelheads right here on the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods. Their pets are undeniably part of the family, and there are 3 great Niagara region locations in Scott Street and St. Catharines, Fawn Hill, and Niagara Falls. And that was the last time we get to hear the Kevin He
I know.
in our intro return there for the plugs, but he'll go into the alumni section. We'll add him to an alumni one going forward.
Gotta put him on the alumni one.
He's going to be on the Mount Rushmore for sure. But
That's it.
It's a sad day.
Shed a tear. Yeah,
shed a
little
tear.
bit emotional here. No Kevin, but
we had to play it one last time.
One last time for Kev.
And thank him for his great time with us over the 4 years. All the interviews he did with us, the captain segments,
right.
Captain Kev's flight deck was
deck.
always great, which is we're going to have to change that with new Captain Ethan Czata, which should be interesting in and of itself with his personality. But again, just thank you so much to Kevin He for everything that he brought to us on and off the ice and the great work he did within the IceDogs community. More so a great human being than just a great hockey player. And again, we wanted to play that one more time since technically
do it.
He was technically still on the roster this morning, so
for sure.
Wish him all the best there with the Flint Firebirds. And luckily, we don't have to play against Kevin He for the rest of the year because
which is
he's already
good.
Played both games against Flint. So
he's a scary guy to play against, so that's good news. And
Yep.
Flint's going to be really happy with what they got there with him. Again, I'll say my 2 cents. While we're on the subject, to Kevin and his family, his brother, everybody that around him, the support system that he has done a fantastic job. What an elite level player, but even more so, like you said, Brandon, just a great human being. And with my limited time here, I've only been here for 33 games, now, and he makes you feel welcome, right from day one. Always willing to help. With whatever it is that you need, interviews, audio bits, whatever it is. Kevin's just a great guy, a true professional, and, I'm really looking forward to see where he goes in his career and, hopefully see him at the next level, with Winnipeg here, in the next couple of seasons. But good luck to you, Kevin, and, thanks, for all your polite and respectful words that, we've shared here at the Meridian Centre. Really sad to see you go, and good luck, there in Michigan.
Well said. So we'll move forward here, and with this IceDogs victory, you know what that means. Free dog treats.
Free dog treats.
Monday, December 29th. Go into any of the 3 Global Niagara stores to get your pup a free dog treat courtesy of the Dog Pound podcast. And this victory for the Ice Dogs, again, 400 Scott Street, 3842 Portage Road in Niagara Falls, or 160 Highway 20 in Font Hill. Pick yourself up some dog treats for your one at home and give them a late Christmas gift.
I'm going to go get a dog so I can get one of these treats, man.
Hey, you work right next to the one in Niagara Falls. So
I know. I got to stop in. And say hi. But, premium products there.
Absolutely.
We're happy to be involved and represented by them as well, which is great.
For sure. So, again, Monday, December 29th, you can go in and get your free dog treat courtesy of this Ice Dogs victory on Sunday afternoon. A 4-3 win against the Brampton Steelheads. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in on our YouTube channel and those that continue to listen to us on your favorite on-demand audio platform. Give us some love, whatever one you chose to listen to us today, and give us a follow on X at Dog Pound Podcast, and as well Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for all of our short reels and content by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. So, Christian, we're going to get to Ice Dogs head coach Krys Barch on Inside the Coach's Room, as always, brought to you by Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road in Niagara since 2012 in honor of the late William Robert Hunter. Here's what the Ice Dogs head coach had to say following his team's 4-3 victory in their first game back after Christmas. And I'm going to let it play a little bit because the great job that I did of not post-edit and making sure that I edited the first little part of it, I got to let it run for a few seconds. You got to listen to us, but it is going to be playing here in a few seconds. And here is Ice Dogs head coach Krys Barch.
Like that. How do you deal with that from a coaching perspective and addressing the team, or do you even need to address the team after something like that?
Well, no, I think look, he's been here for a number of years. And earned the C and has really brought forth to the group a lot of leadership through his actions. But the same token too, you want to give him the best opportunity moving forward. It's the right thing to do. And then, like Frank touched on, there's always that plan in place where you're continually building for next year, at the same time as, achieving results this year. So I think it's a balancing act in a way from a managerial perspective. But you know what? All the young men in that room, this is a job for them. They're professionals. So you show up, you put your equipment on, and it may be a new soldier right beside you, but you got to win a war.
Yeah. You responded pretty well today, I thought. Overall, how did you think you played today?
Yeah, you know what? You never know coming back after 5 days off. How many Christmas cookies they ate, or how much eggnog they consumed. But you know what? No, I thought they were engaged. They were connected. The work was at a standard that we expect, and again, garnered 2 points.
Absolutely. The new player that you got in, do you envision how you're going to use him yet, or do you need to see him a little bit first?
I think he's got 7 even strength goals, so a big component for us with respect to some depth scoring. Hard nose works, got good speed, so it really blends into the style of play that we want to bring forth.
Sure. One other thing, you named Ethan captain. What was the thought process there? Pretty easy choice, probably. Yeah.
Well, it was we didn't have many options to pick from. I'm just kidding. He's right here. So.
No one else, right?
Yeah. No, hey, he's always led by actions. The way he plays the game, 200 foot, all 3 zones on the right side of pucks. He's a professional. He has an identity and plays to a player that will translate at the next level, at the NHL level. So for us, it was, how number one he conducts himself amongst his peers, how he conducts himself in front of, fans every night, and how he carries himself through the community. So it was a pretty easy decision. Absolutely.
With the lineup today, it looked like you were switching the lines up a little bit. Was there a thought process there about maybe line matching with how Brampton was going to play and not knowing that Kevin was going to be in the lineup and Riesenecker was out? So how are you sort of using your lineup card there?
Hey, if you play, you play. If you're effective and you show up to do a job, you'll get ice. If you don't, then there may be players that start earning ahead of you. So it's something that is a reset every night. So they understand there's an earned aspect. So some guys tonight maybe earned a little bit more than others just from the work that they put in. Twice
tonight you had guys step in after big hits and things like that. how do you like that as from a coaching perspective? I know you get shorthanded and, guys go off for 10-minute misconducts and things like that. Then you sort of have to change up the lines and things like that. But do you like the response that you see, especially tonight in those two instances?
Yeah, I don't love the rule. I don't love the 2, 5, and a 10 when the other player drops glove, but that's out of my scope of influence. I never played the game that way. I sometimes struggled to see why it's looked at that way now. If two players are willing to engage each other, it should be maybe just an even up situation. But I also do like, players like Galyanov, Frolov, guys that you don't always expect that are going to jump in. But just again, being there for teammates. And, we always touch on it. It just shows how that room cares for each other. And as the season gets into the third quarter, fourth quarter, playoffs, you need that care there to have success.
Tonight you had that 4-1 lead, and then things got a little murky there at the end, but you were able to hold that off. What did you like in the third period, and what did you sort of want them to learn from with Brampton having that late push there?
The second goal out from the outside, Euro played a great game. I'm sure he wanted that back. If I'm looking at the game or goal 6-on-5, hey, there's a reason why you score 4, and you keep, the foot on the gas pedal to keep accumulating goals. So at the end, you can win by 1. For me, it's a learning process. You got a team over there that's fighting for their life. They're pushing for a goal. It's 6-on-5. They pull a goaltender. For me, hey, we were up 2. We gave up 1. But we had tamed 2 points, and that's the learn, of it for the entire group. It's just, again, continually working together and learning how to seal games out, learning how to win points. Earlier in the year, we did not do that. Right now, we are. So.
And then lastly, you're at the midway point, basically, of the season now, that 6th, 7th spot in the conference and a trade like today, but you still have a lot of high hopes in that room and with some of your top-end players to have the belief that they can do things come playoff time. So what's the message there halfway through the season right now?
You know what? We don't really look at the halfway point. Again, it's a 7-game segment, but it's an investment every day. You keep investing day after day, 180 days, you see where you're at the end. And this is a true team game. It's not one player that wins the hockey games. It's a cumulative effort from 4 forward lines and 3 sets of D and the goaltender when you step on that ice. And, that's our goal here is continuing to push to, that we win hockey games as a team.
Thanks, Coach.
No worries, thanks.
There was IceDogs head coach Krys Barch on the Wild Bills auto repair postgame. Christian, your takeaways.
A lot of information in there, that's for sure. That's my key takeaway. Love what he had to say about Ethan, having some fun with his new captain, joking about there wasn't too many options, so we went there, but. A lot of stuff to kind of break through, and excited alongside the coaching staff to see what Chase Hall brings tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. Pretty sure he's going to be in the lineup, the new acquisition tomorrow in Brampton. So excited to see what he brings there. Chris corrected me; he's got 7 goals on this season. So. I'm excited to see what kind of goal scoring and speed he brings in that bottom 6. And then as for tonight. A lot of the things that he mentioned, I mentioned as well, and I really liked them. That physicality we saw, the response early, the fight from Ivan Galyanov, even Artem Frolov at one point here this afternoon stepped up for one of his teammates. Just all together collectively, this was a group effort, top to bottom. Everybody was engaged and filling, a need that it's their job. Their job, every guy on this team has certain things that they are expected to do on a nightly basis. And I think those guys that are relied on for their certain skill sets tonight did them. Ethan Czata won faceoffs. He also scored. Ryan Robrick scored some goals. Riley Patterson was there defensively. The bottom 6 guys were there as well. The defensive side of the puck, people took care of their responsibilities. And, of course, Yermolenko with, his goaltending. So I think, to use some of Krys Barch's language, the process was there. Obviously, this is a great start. They got to finish it up tomorrow. Another game against the same team. They're going to come back hungry. And, I think all in all, a great performance from this IceDogs team. And I think, what Chris said there specifically at the end was, talking a little bit about, this team, top to bottom and what he gets from, all these different guys and, how they compete. I think he's right on the money. This group, top to bottom here this afternoon was performing. Everybody did their job. And that's what it looks like when an IceDogs team wins is, they get contributions top to bottom in their lineup. And they had that here this afternoon.
And we talk about a 60-minute effort. I don't think that, necessarily, there wasn't a point in the game where I thought that they got dominated.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? And yeah, maybe in the late dying moments when Brampton's down 2, they got a goalie pulled, 6-on-5, 6-on-4 with a broken stick and things like that. Yeah, Brampton's going to push and they're going to have more shots on net, just by the fact that they're trying to score 2 goals.
Of course,
but I don't think through the first 55 minutes of this game there was any stretch where I said that, that we've seen maybe in prior games this year where, wow, the IceDogs weren't prepared. They weren't, playing up to their caliber. I do think that they played a pretty solid effort from start to finish against this Brampton team.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was just the way they conducted their business defensively. They did a really good job in their own zone of, getting pucks out, quick, on pucks in the corner. The breakout was, pretty electric here today. They did a good job of keeping the puck out of their own zone. As simple as that sounds, that's number one. Number one responsibility for a D-man and for the wingers is to be in the right position, to move the puck up the wall and across their blue line. I think they did a great job of that here this afternoon.
The IceDogs at the moment of recording are now still 7th in the conference, but they're only 1 point behind the Kingston Frontenacs for 6th in the conference. 4 points clear of the Brampton Steelheads that they will play tomorrow or tonight if you're listening to this on Monday morning. But let's move on to our IceDogs feature player interview tonight, brought to you by the Niagara Dental Clinic, creating natural smiles in the Niagara region for over 25 years. It is with new captain Ethan Czata after his first goal, wearing the C.
On the victory, and congratulations on your first victory and first goal as the captain of the Niagara IceDogs. Maybe walk us through, how does it feel to be wearing the C? How did it feel to get a first goal wearing that C and be victorious here this afternoon?
To be honest, in my mind, wearing the C and the A is not big of a difference. So I think just come to play every game. So I think just I guess now having the responsibility of being the captain, sure it's a little bit different than having an A, but I think just every day I act the same, play the same, and to win, the score, my first thing, it's just something I would like to show the team that I'm ready to go. So,
talking about the scoring this year, well documented. You've been scoring at will, up to I think it's 15 goals now this year. Had 21 last year. What's been going right out there? A lot of pucks are finding the back of the net. Something new you chose with your approach, maybe a different way that you're shooting the puck. What is it? Why are you scoring so much this year?
To me, I think it's just me going to the net more. Most of my goals, if you look at them, are mostly in front of the net, or near the net at least. So I think just kind of relying on my line mates to get me the puck, on the forecheck, going hard, and just kind of battling for the net just to get loose pucks. And I would say it's a little bit of puck luck too. Sometimes the puck just pops out to me, which is always pretty nice. But
let's talk about some puck luck. And a teammate of yours, Callum Chanowski, scores his first goal in 2 years here this afternoon. A great shot off the post and in. What did that goal mean to everybody on the bench and everybody in that locker room?
Oh, it was unreal. If you looked at me on the bench, I'm jumping up and down with my hands in the air like this. But no, he deserved it. He's works hard, blocks plenty of shots in the season. So, he deserved that goal. And to be honest, I don't know how it took him this long. He has a crazy shot, but just probably needs to aim it more a little bit, I think. But you give him time, though, it's going in like he showed today. But so yeah, he deserved it. I'm happy for him.
And a couple more questions. Kevin He, obviously a huge part of this team over the last couple of years. Moving on, maybe talk a little bit about what he meant to you. Now you're stepping into his shoes, was a captain of this team for a couple of years. How did he help you maybe prepare yourself for that captaincy? And then off the ice, what did he mean to you as a person? And do you have any words maybe to share about Kevin He, the teammate, and also the guy?
Yeah, as a captain, he always came to the rink every game. He played hard, gave it his all every game. So that's something that I took in from him. He's been my teammate now since I've been here. So, and he's obviously a year older than me, so it's just good to learn from him. He helped me a lot in my draft year, which I'm always grateful for him. Always won't forget that stuff. So, but yeah, and then as a person, he's a great kid. I work out with him in the summer. I see him in the summer all the time. So, he may be getting traded, but we'll still be hanging out in the summer, and I'll see him every day probably. So yeah, he's a great guy. I'm gonna miss him, but only for a little bit till the summer comes. So.
There you go. I'm sure you guys will reconnect. And one final question, Ethan. Job's not exactly done. Another game tomorrow. Quick turnaround in the home and home. What's the plan tomorrow, and how do you guys continue this momentum?
I think the plan tomorrow is to kind of come in and play how we did today. You know, we're hard, we're forechecking, good neutral zone forecheck, stopping them. So I think we keep playing the way we're playing right now. You know, it was a good start to the new start after the break. So if you just keep playing like this, good things will happen.
There was IceDogs' new captain, Ethan Czata, on the Niagara Denture Clinic post-game interview. Christian, I don't think there's any difference whether Ethan Czata's wearing a C or not. He sounds like the same guy, same, dry humor that he's always given
comedy.
us. But again, just you know what you're getting from Ethan Czata on a game in and game out basis. We talked, even going back to his draft year, a guy that's in plain sight. You know what you're going to get from him. Night in and night out, and why Tampa Bay selected him as a second-round pick for a guy that started the year as a projected maybe seventh-round pick, skyrocketed up the rankings, and obviously has already signed his NHL entry-level contract, so you know that they like his game at the pro level. But now, wearing that C the first game, you're very impressed.
Very impressed. I think he lived up to the moment well, of course, scored that goal, but was also, in the mix and was able to, lead this group to a victory, here this afternoon. And when you look at his stat line, what he did here this afternoon, it's more than just winning faceoffs. It's more than just scoring goals. He comes, like you said, every night. You know what you're going to get from Ethan Czata. He plays hard. He gets it on the forecheck. All those things that he mentioned. Does a great job of showing this team how they need to play. A guy like that plays the right way. He is physical, he's hard on pucks, plays in all three zones, does a good job in the defensive zone, and I thought he showcased everything that a captain should for their team here this afternoon. Played a fantastic game. The emotion was there, goal scoring was there, faceoffs, all of it was there. And love to hear him talk about his teammates the way that he did with, what he had, the few things he had to say about Callum Shanowski. Just great, a great guy, and I'm sure we'll have him here on this show for the foreseeable future with our captain's comments with Ethan Czata. We'll have to find a new name. No more Flight Deck, unfortunately. We can call it the light show, or I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But no, great guy. Always loved chatting with Ethan, and had a great game here this afternoon. And excited to see what he brings the rest of the season as a captain. He talks a little bit about it, and not really meaning a whole lot, but it does. And it means a lot to his teammates. It means a lot to the coaching staff. They're going to put a letter on this kid's jersey. It doesn't just mean nothing. It's not like nothing changes. There's going to be some more responsibility on him to help lead this team to where they want to go, and I'm excited to see what he has in store as a leader for this IceDogs team as we approach the new year. Absolutely. So congratulations to Ethan Czata on being awarded the C, and also scoring a goal in his first game with the C. So very well earned and well deserved for number 12. We'll see how he continues that momentum in his hometown of Brampton tomorrow night. But before we get out of here, we're going to put Christian in the spot as always with our stick tap of the game, brought to you by Butt Ends Hockey Stick Grips, specifically for the top end of the stick, designed to replace traditional cloth tape. Check them out at buttendswithaz.com and use our referral code discount/armchairgm to get 10% off your first order. Engineered for greatness and performance, Butt Ends, the number one grip in hockey. I'm going to assume it's going to be Callum Shanowski, number 7. Oh, yeah, it's got to be Chinner. Come on. What a game from Callum Shanowski. That was electric. I mean, this guy, we talked about earlier in the show, a warrior. Guy's a gladiator. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up to the rink on horseback. Like, the beating that he takes out front of the net, the block shots, the physicality, the goals that he scored tonight, just gorgeous. The pass to Ryan Robrick, all of it. It was a Mona Lisa of Callum Shanowski performances here tonight. He brought it all together, played the defensive responsibility, played the offensive side of the puck, was physical from the drop of the puck here today. I think he absolutely deserves it, and then some. The first star in the Meridian Centre, the stick tap of the game for us here at the Dog Pound Podcast. And truly just obviously a huge inspiration in that room when you see a guy rise to the occasion the way that he did. So Callum Shanowski for me, no doubt about it. He gets my stick tap.
Vladislav Yermolenko, an honorable mention. That third goal, I'm sure he'd want back, but other than that, was phenomenal. Stopped 26 of 29.
Yeah.
And again, kept them, held the fort late for them.
Yeah, and maybe another couple of honorable mentions too. Obviously, Yermo was great. Hayden Reed was really, really good. Had that breakaway goal, just his 5th goal in the season. He's been looking for that one, a huge way to get a monkey off his back in a way as well. Also the game-winning goal here today. Ivan Galyanov draws an assist on that Callum Shanowski goal. He made a great play on that wall. Also had the fight as well as Brandon gives me the air punches, helping me remember. Noah Reed, too, in the elevated role. I thought he played good as well. And then Robrick showed that speed, that
first 20 minutes.
Man, he showed it. He really showed that game-breaking ability that we've been starving for all season. I thought all those guys had great games, but for me, Callum Shanowski takes the checkered flag.
Absolutely. So that's it for our Niagara IceDogs game recap. Thank you to everybody for sticking with us here and going into 2026. Your support is always appreciated. Hope you had a great holiday. And then going into New Year's Eve, we're going to have some content for you guys. Post-game for that. Post-game skate. Christian might be on the ice with some players. And we're going to have our big end-of-month recap episode on January 1st. New Year's Day, we're starting it off hot with our big end-of-month recap where we will hear from General Manager Frank Ivola, and we'll do a couple other segments as well with our ticket giveaway as well as our gift card giveaway for Global Pet Food Stores as well. So you're going to definitely want to tune into that show for a big end-of-month and first show of the calendar of 2026. It's going to be a blast. Oh, that's it for this game recap on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family and their 3 great Niagara region locations. IceDogs 4, Brampton Steelheads 3, and that's it right here from the Meridian Centre in front of 3,000. What was it, Christian?
254, I
there
believe.
There you go. 3,000. 3254, yes.
I got it.
3254.
Look at that.
So, as always, that's it for another episode on the Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel and your favorite on-demand audio platform. For Christian Simmons, my name is Brandon Caputo. Have yourself a great rest of your Sunday night, and we'll talk to you again very soon, right here on the official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs.